Hello, friends. Imagine you are living in a happy marriage, making plans for the future, and suddenly one phrase from your wife destroys everything. My name is Dan, and I overheard my wife confessing that she was cheating and regretting our marriage. What would you do? Share in the comments, and I'll tell you how I turned her infidelity around and started a new life. Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining me today. I've got a wild story to share, so buckle up. My name's Dan Crawford. I'm 32, and I'm a carpenter from Portland, Oregon. Picture this. You're living what you think is a happy marriage, crafting a future with someone you love, when one sentence shatters it all. That's what happened to me. One overheard phone call flipped my world upside down. And I'm here to tell you how I turned my wife's betrayal into the start of something new. What would you do if you were me? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Let's dive in. 5 years ago, I married Lisa. She was this vibrant marketing whiz with a smile that could light up a room. We'd built a cozy life in our little house near the Columbia River. Wooden porch, coffee brewing every morning, the works. I'd spend my days shaping furniture in the garage, while she'd hustle at her downtown office. It wasn't perfect, but it felt solid. Or so I thought. Looking back, maybe I was too comfortable, too blind to the cracks forming beneath the surface. It all started on a chilly Friday night last fall. I was in the garage, sanding down a walnut chair I'd been working on for a client. The hum of the sander filled the air, but I could still hear Lisa's voice drifting through the cracked kitchen window. She was on the phone, her tone hushed but sharp. I didn't think much of it at first, probably just work stuff, right? But then I caught a few words that made my stomach twist. "I don't love Dan anymore, Kate. There's someone else." I froze mid-motion, the sander slipping from my hand and clattering onto the workbench. My heart pounded like a hammer against my ribs. Did I hear that right? Lisa, my Lisa, was saying she didn't love me? And someone else? The air felt thick, suffocating. I edged closer to the window, careful not to make a sound, my breath fogging in the cold. Her voice came clearer now, laced with something I hadn't heard before, resentment. "He's a good guy, but he's not enough. With him, I feel alive again." Alive again? What the hell did that mean? I'd spent 5 years building a life with her. Every late-night dinner, every weekend hike, every quiet moment on the couch. Was that not enough? My mind raced, replaying her words like a broken record. I wanted to storm in, demand answers, but my feet wouldn't move. Instead, I stood there, a shadow in my own garage, listening to the woman I loved unravel our marriage over a phone call to her best friend, Kate. The call ended with a laugh, a hollow, bitter sound that cut deeper than anything else. I stumbled back to my workbench, hands shaking as I gripped the edge. The half-finished chair stared up at me, mocking my stability. Everything I thought I knew about us was a lie. She didn't just not love me, she regretted me. And there was someone else out there making her feel alive while I was here, sanding wood like an idiot. I didn't sleep that night. Lisa came to bed late, her soft breathing filling the room as if nothing had happened. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of the last few months. The late nights at work, the way she'd angle her phone away from me, the excuses, traffic, meetings, deadlines. It all clicked into place. How long had this been going on? Who was this guy? And why hadn't I seen it sooner? By morning, I was a wreck, but I hid it. Lisa bounced around the kitchen like always, handing me a mug of coffee with that same bright smile. "Morning, babe," she chirped, her hazel eyes catching the light. I forced a grin, took the mug, and sipped it like it wasn't burning a hole through me. She had no idea I'd heard her, no clue I was already plotting my next move. Confronting her then, and there would have been easy, yelling, crying, breaking something, but that's not who I am. I'm a builder, not a destroyer. If she wanted to tear us apart, I'd make damn sure I came out stronger. Over the next few days, I watched her closer than ever. She'd leave for work with a kiss on my cheek, but now it felt like a mask. Her phone was glued to her hand, and she'd tilt it away whenever I walked by. She'd come home late, blaming some big campaign, but her stories didn't add up. I wasn't just hurt, I was pissed. Trust was the foundation of everything we had, and she'd torched it. But I didn't have proof yet, just her words echoing in my head. I needed more. That's when I decided to dig. Sunday night, while she was in the shower, I grabbed her phone from the counter. My hands shook as I punched in her passcode. Our anniversary date, how ironic. There was a string of texts from Eric. "Last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you again." My gut churned. Then I found the photos, Lisa and some slick-looking guy in a suit, laughing over wine at a place I didn't recognize. I scrolled further. Months of messages, flirty emojis, plans to meet up. This wasn't a fling. This was a double life. I snapped pictures of it all with my own phone, every damning word and image. Eric, I figured out, was her boss, a married guy with a corner office and a smug grin I'd seen at her company holiday party last year. My blood boiled, but I kept it together. Bursting on her now would just give her the upper hand. Tears, excuses, lies. No, I had to be smarter. If Lisa thought she could play me, she was dead wrong. I'd turn this around, and she'd never see it coming. So that's where it started, folks, the moment my perfect little life cracked open. Stick around for part 2, because this isn't just about heartbreak. It's about how I took her betrayal and built something better from the ashes. Hit that like button if you're with me. Subscribe so you don't miss what's next, and let me know, what would you do if you caught your partner slipping like this? See you soon. Hey, welcome back, everyone. If you caught part 1, you know I'm Dan Crawford, a 32-year-old carpenter from Portland, Oregon, whose world got rocked when I overheard my wife Lisa confess she didn't love me anymore, and that she was seeing someone else. Last time, I found proof on her phone, texts, photos, a whole secret life with her boss, Eric. Now, the real question was, what do I do next? Stick around, because this is where the tension cranks up and I start piecing together a plan. What would you do in my shoes? Let me know in the comments. I'm dying to hear your take. After that night with her phone, I couldn't unsee it. Every smile Lisa flashed felt fake. Every, I love you, a dagger, twisting deeper. But I played it cool. No blowout fights, no slamming doors. I wasn't about to tip her off. If she thought I was clueless, I'd use that. Monday morning, she kissed me goodbye like nothing was wrong, heading off to her marketing job downtown. I waved from the porch, coffee in hand, but my mind was racing. I had screenshots, sure, but I needed more than that to turn this around. I needed leverage. First step, figure out who this Eric guy really was. I remembered him from her company's holiday party. Mid-40s, slick suit, too much cologne, the kind of guy who thinks he's untouchable. A quick LinkedIn search confirmed it. Eric Palmer, senior VP at her firm, married with 2 kids. Perfect. If he was dumb enough to mess around with Lisa at work, there had to be a trail. I wasn't just mad, I was curious. How deep did this go? I started watching her closer, and trust me, the signs were everywhere now that I knew what to look for. She'd come home late, hair slightly mussing. Oh, just a crazy day at the office. Her phone buzzed constantly, and she'd flip it face down fast. One night, I caught her giggling at a text in the kitchen while I was sanding a table in the garage. Who's that? I called out, casual as hell. She flinched, then laughed it off. Just Kate being ridiculous. Kate, huh? I knew better. The lies were piling up, and I was done swallowing them. But I kept my poker face. Years of crafting would taught me patience. This wasn't the time to swing the hammer. Tuesday night, I took it up a notch. Lisa said she had a late meeting, so I decided to tail her. Yeah, I know. Sound dramatic, but I had to see it for myself. I grabbed my truck keys, threw on a hoodie, and followed her Prius from a distance. She didn't head to the office. Instead, she pulled into a parking lot near a swanky bar downtown. Neon lights, valet, the works. I parked across the street, heart pounding, and watched. Sure enough, Eric strolled out, all smirks and swagger, and she ran up to him like a teenager with a crush. They disappeared inside, arm in arm. I snapped a few blurry pics through my windshield, time-stamped evidence. That's when the real twist hit. As I sat there, stewing, a woman walked past my truck toward the bar. She looked familiar. Sharp jawline, blonde hair pulled tight. It clicked. Eric's wife, Sarah. I'd met her at that same holiday party, chatting about their kids' soccer games. She wasn't smiling now, though. Her face was stone cold, like she knew something was up. Did she? My brain spun. If she was onto them, this could get messy fast. I didn't follow her in. I wasn't ready to blow this wide open yet, but it planted a seed. Maybe I wasn't the only one who'd want payback. Back home, Lisa didn't roll in until after midnight, humming like she'd had the best night ever. How was the meeting? I asked, leaning on the kitchen counter, voice steady. She barely looked up from her phone. Exhausting but productive. You know how it is. Oh, I knew. I nodded, forcing a smile, but inside I was boiling. She had no idea I'd just watch her cozy up with Eric over martinis. The next day, I dug deeper. I checked her laptop, left open on the couch, rookie mistake, and found an email from Eric. Can't stop thinking about you. Thursday at the Hilton. My jaw clenched. This wasn't just a fling. It was a full-on affair. and they weren't even subtle. Here's where it gets wild. Wednesday morning, I got a text from an unknown number. Dan, it's Kate. We need to talk. Lisa's best friend? My pulse spiked. I hadn't spoken to her in months. Why now? I replied, sure, when? She suggested a coffee shop that afternoon, and I agreed, half expecting trap. Kate showed up, nervous as hell, clutching her latte like a lifeline. I know about Lisa and Eric, she blurted, eyes darting around. She told me everything last week. I try to stop her, but she's in deep. I feel awful. You don't deserve this. I lean back, processing. How long? I asked, voice low. 3 months, she said, wincing. Maybe more. She's reckless, Dan. Eric's promising her stuff, trips, promotions, but he's a sleaze. I'm scared she's going to crash and burn. I nodded, gears turning. Kate wasn't here to defend Lisa. She was warning me. Why tell me now? I pressed. She sighed. Because she's my friend, but you're a good guy. If she won't end it, someone has to. That someone was me. Driving home, I felt the weight of it all. Anger, betrayal, but also clarity. Lisa wasn't just cheating. She was throwing away our life for a fantasy with a married creep. And now I had Kate's confession, photos, texts, and a hunch about Eric's wife. This wasn't about heartbreak anymore. It was about justice. I wasn't going to scream or smash stuff. No, I'd build something better. A plan to make them both regret crossing me. But how? That's where part 3 comes in. Thanks for sticking with me, folks. Hit that like button if you're hooked, subscribe so you don't miss the next twist, and tell me, what would you do with all this dirt? Confront them? Plot revenge? I'll see you soon with the next chapter. Things are about to heat up. Hey everyone, welcome back. If you've been following along, I'm Dan Crawford, the 32-year-old carpenter from Portland, Oregon, whose wife Lisa turned my life upside down with an affair. In part 1, I overheard her confess she didn't love me and was seeing her boss, Eric. Part 2, I dug up proof, texts, photos, a tail job at a bar, and got a bombshell tip from her friend Kate. Now it's time to stop playing the victim and start playing smart. This is where I hatch a plan to flip the script. What would you do with this kind of betrayal? Hit the comments. I'm all ears. Let's get into it. After Kate's coffee shop confession, I drove home with my mind on fire. Lisa wasn't just cheating. She was betting our whole marriage on some sleazy VP promising her the moon. 3 months, maybe more of lies. I had photos, screenshots, timestamps, and now Kate's word. But evidence wasn't enough. I wanted them to feel the fallout. Not with fists or shouting matches. That's not my style. I'm a carpenter. I build things, and I'd build their downfall, piece by piece, all within the lines of the law. First, I took stock. Eric was married, a big shot at Lisa's firm, and reckless enough to flaunt their affair. Lisa was climbing the ladder, banking on his influence. They thought they were untouchable, sneaking around in bars and hotels. But I'd seen Eric's wife, Sarah, outside that bar, her face hard, like she suspected something. If she didn't know yet, she'd want to. And her company? They wouldn't take kindly to a VP screwing around with a subordinate. That's where I'd hit them. Reputation, career, the stuff they cared about more than me. Thursday morning, Lisa left for her Hilton night. With Eric, I'd seen the email. I kissed her goodbye, all smiles while my stomach churned. As soon as her Prius pulled away, I got to work. Step 1, the company. I created a burner email, nothing traceable, and drafted a message to their HR department. Concerned employee here, I wrote. Eric Palmer, VP, is having an inappropriate relationship with Lisa Crawford, a team lead. It's affecting morale and breaking policy. Check these out. I attached the juiciest bits, text about meeting up, a photo from the bar, all scrubbed in my fingerprints. Sent. If they investigated, Eric's career was toast, and Lisa'd get dragged down with him. Step 2, Sarah. This was trickier. I didn't know her well, but I found her on Facebook. Soccer mom vibes, post about family vacations. I printed out a few key screenshots, slipped them into an envelope with a typed note. You deserve to know what Eric's doing. I'm sorry. No name, no return address. I drove to their fancy Lake Oswego neighborhood that afternoon, heart pounding, and dropped it in their mailbox. If she confronted him, their little bubble would burst. I wasn't banking on her leaving him, just stirring the pot. Back home, I waited. Lisa rolled in late, humming again, oblivious. How was your day? She chirped. Fine, I said, sanding a chair leg, eyes on the wood. Yours? Busy, she replied, dodging details. I nodded. hiding the smirk creeping up. She had no clue the dominoes were already falling. Friday morning, my phone buzzed. A text from Kate. Something's up at work. Lisa's freaking out. Did you do something? I texted back, just watching the show. She didn't push, but I could tell she was nervous. Good, she'd picked her side. Here's where it twists. That afternoon, I got a call from an unknown number. Dan Crawford, a woman's voice asked, clipped and cold. Yeah, who's this? Sarah Palmer. We need to talk about my husband and your wife. My pulse spiked. She got in the envelope, and she tracked me down. How'd you find me? I asked, stalling. Doesn't matter, she snapped. I know what they're doing. Meet me at the Bluebird Cafe. 3 p.m., don't be late. She hung up. Holy hell. Eric's wife wasn't just mad. She was on a warpath. Was she an ally or a loose cannon? I had 2 hours to decide. At the cafe, Sarah sat in a corner booth, blonde hair pulled tight, eyes like steel. She didn't waste time. I got your note. I've suspected Eric for months, late nights, dumb excuses. Those photos? That's the proof I needed. She slid a folder across the table, bank statements, hotel receipts, stuff I hadn't even dug up. He's been using our joint account for this crap, she said, voice shaking with rage. I'm divorcing him, but I want him humiliated first. You in? I blinked, caught off guard. This wasn't just a scorned wife. She was a strategist, and she'd brought ammo. What's the play? I asked, leaning in. She smirked, cold and calculated. I've got a friend at the firm, a board member. We leaked this to him, not just HR. Eric's done, and Lisa's collateral damage. You file for divorce. I'll back you up. Witness whatever you need. They don't walk away from this. My mind raced. This was bigger than my plan. Sarah had the pull to torch their careers in one move. Deal, I said, shaking her hand. Her grip was iron. That night, Lisa came home rattled. Something's weird at work, she muttered, pacing. Eric's in a meeting with HR. Nobody's talking. I shrugged, feigning ignorance. Rough day, huh? She nodded, distracted, and I let her stew. The net was tightening, and she didn't even know I'd helped weave it. But there was one more twist coming, one I didn't see until it hit. Saturday morning, my doorbell rang. I opened it to find Kate, pale and fidgeting. Dan, Lisa knows someone's onto them. She thinks it's me. She's furious. What did you do? My gut dropped. If Lisa suspected Kate, she might figure me out next. The clock was ticking faster than I planned. Part 4 is where it all blows up. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching, folks. Smash that like button if you're loving the ride. Subscribe for the next drop. And tell me, would you team up with Sarah or go solo? See you soon. The fireworks are just starting. Hey, welcome back, everyone. I'm Dan Crawford, the 32-year-old carpenter from Portland, Oregon, and if you've been with me since part 1, you know my wife Lisa's affair with her boss Eric flipped my life upside down. Last time, I teamed up with Eric's wife Sarah to expose them, dropping bombs on their careers and marriages. Kate warned me Lisa's onto something, and now it's go time. This is the reckoning where the hammer drops. What would you do when it all hits the fan? Drop your thoughts below. Let's get into it. Saturday morning, after Kate's panic visit, my nerves were electric. Lisa knew someone was closing in. She'd grilled Kate, thinking her best friend ratted her out. She wasn't wrong to be paranoid, but she hadn't pegged me yet. I kept my cool, sanding a bookshelf in the garage like nothing was up. Lisa stormed in around noon, eyes wild, phone clutched tight. Dan, we need to talk, she snapped, voice trembling. My pulse spiked, did she know? I set the sander down, wiping my hands. What's wrong? I asked, calm as stone. She paced, barely looking at me. Work's a mess. Eric's suspended. HR's got some anonymous tip about us. Kate's acting weird, and I think she's behind it. I raised an eyebrow, playing dumb. A tip about you and Eric? What's that mean? Her face flushed. She hadn't meant to slip that far. It's nothing, she stammered. Just office drama. I nodded, letting her squirm. Sounds rough. Hope it blows over. She muttered something and bolted inside. She was cracking, but I wasn't ready to show my cards. Not yet. That afternoon, Sarah texted, Board's got the docs. Eric's out by Monday. Lisa's on thin ice, HR's digging. My plan was working. Her leak to her boardroom buddy had lit the fuse. I'd already met with a divorce lawyer Friday, papers drawn up, waiting for my signature. Half the house, my truck, and a clean break. That's all I wanted. But the real kicker came Sunday. Lisa's phone buzzed nonstop. Text from Eric, I guessed, since she kept it glued to her side. Then the doorbell rang. I opened it to Sarah, standing there like a storm cloud, folder in hand. Thought you'd want to see this through, she said, stepping inside. Lisa froze in the kitchen doorway, coffee mug slipping from her grip. It shattered on the tile, brown liquid pooling. "Sarah? What the hell are you doing here?" she shrieked. Sarah didn't flinch. "Saving Dan the trouble of telling you. He knows, Lisa. We both do." She tossed the folder on the counter. Photos, receipts, the works. Lisa's eyes darted to me, wide with panic. "Dan, what's she talking about?" I crossed my arms. "I heard you on the phone weeks ago. I don't love Dan. There's someone else." Ring a bell. Her mouth opened, then shut. The color drained from her face. I didn't mean it like that," she stuttered. Sarah cut in, voice like ice. "Save it. Eric's been funding your little dates with our money. He's finished at work, and I'm taking him for everything. You're next." Lisa lunged for the folder, but I stepped in front. "It's over, Lisa. I've got copies. HR does too. You and Eric can figure out what's left after the dust settles." She sank into a chair, hands shaking. "Dan, please, let's talk. I messed up, but we can fix this." Her tears started, but they didn't move me. "Fix it," I said, voice steady. "You threw us away for some creep who's already begging his wife to take him back. I'm done." Sarah smirked. "He called me last night, crying. Too late." Lisa's sobs filled the room, but I felt nothing, just a weight lifting. I grabbed my duffel bag, packed days ago, and nodded to Sarah. "Let's go." Outside, Sarah filled me in. The board fired Eric that morning. Gross misconduct policy violation. Lisa wasn't canned yet, but her team lead gig was toast. HR flagged her for collusion. "They'll feel this for years," Sarah said, a glint in her eye. "Divorce papers are filed?" I nodded. "Signed yesterday." "You?" "Same," she said. "We're free." I drove off, leaving our house, and Lisa in the rear view. She'd begged, but her choices had consequences, and I wasn't her safety net anymore. Monday, I crashed at a buddy's place downtown. My phone lit up with voicemails, Lisa pleading, then furious, then silent. I didn't listen past the first one. Kate texted, "She's a wreck. Blames me, you, everyone. I'm sorry it came to this." I replied, "Not your fault." She dug her grave. By Tuesday, word spread. Eric's firing was office gossip. Lisa was on leave, her career in free fall. Friends called, shocked, but I kept it short. "It's done. Moving on." Here's the twist. Wednesday, I got a package of my buddies. No return address, just a letter and a check for $5,000. The note read, "Dan, you didn't deserve this. Use it to start over. S. Sarah." I stared at it, floored. She didn't owe me a dime, but she'd cut me in on Eric's settlement somehow. It wasn't about the money. It was about closing the book. Lisa and Eric lost everything, jobs, marriages, reputations, while I walked away with a fresh slate. That's the climax, folks, but part 5 ties it up. Hit that like button if you're cheering this payback, subscribe for the finale, and tell me, would you have faced Lisa down or just ghosted? See you soon. The best part's coming. Hey everyone, welcome back for the final chapter. I'm Dan Crawford, the 32-year-old carpenter from Portland, Oregon, and if you've stuck with me through this wild ride, you know how my wife Lisa's affair with her boss Eric unraveled everything. Last time, Sarah and I dropped the hammer. Eric got fired, Lisa's career tanked, and I walked out with divorce papers in hand. Now, it's about what comes after the storm. How do you rebuild when trust gets torched? Let's wrap this up. Tell me your thoughts in the comments. Here we go. After that Sunday showdown, I didn't look back. I crashed at my buddy Jake's place downtown, sleeping on his lumpy couch with my duffel bag as a pillow. Portland's gray skies mirrored my mood those first few days. Heavy, quiet, a little lost. Lisa's voicemails piled up. Tears, apologies, then silence. I deleted them unheard. She'd made her bed with Eric. I wasn't her lifeline anymore. Sarah's check, $5,000, sat in my wallet, a bittersweet bonus. It wasn't about the cash. It was proof I'd survived their mess. By week's end, I signed a lease on a small apartment near the Pearl District. Bare walls, creaky floors, but mine. I hauled in my tools first, setting up a workbench in the corner. Wood's always been my therapy. Sanding a rough plank into something smooth felt like sanding down the jagged edges of the last few months. Jake swung by with beers, clapping me on the back. "You're a badass, man. Most guys would have crumbled." I shrugged. Didn't feel like it. But maybe he was right. I kept my head up when it counted. Work picked up too. Clients loved my custom pieces. Tables, chairs, shelves, and word spread. I poured myself into it, letting the rhythm of sawing and staining drown out the noise in my head. Lisa and Eric? They were fading into static. I heard through the grapevine. Jake's girlfriend worked at her firm. That Eric's firing stuck. He'd lost his fancy VP title, and Sarah cleaned him out in the divorce. Lisa got demoted to grunt work, her reputation shredded. No cushy promotions, no corner office dreams, just the wreckage of her choices. A month later, I got a call from my lawyer. "Divorce is final," he said. "House is sold. Your half's in the bank." I exhaled, a weight I hadn't named lifting. 50 grand, plus Sarah's check, gave me breathing room. I didn't gloat, didn't need to. Lisa texted once after, "I'm sorry, Dan. I messed up everything." I didn't reply. Forgiveness wasn't about her. It was about me letting go. She'd lost her job soon after, I heard. Quit before they could fire her. Her and Eric? Done. He crawled back to Sarah, but she'd slammed the door. Karma didn't need my help. Spring rolled in, and Portland bloomed. Green hills, cherry blossoms, a fresh start. I've been holed up in my workshop too long, so I started stepping out. Coffee runs turned into chats with regulars. Old friends resurfaced, and one day, I met Emily. She was sketching at a cafe, pencil flying over a notebook, dark curls, quiet smile, a vibe that pulled me in. "Nice lines," I said, nodding at her drawing. She grinned. "Thanks. You an artist?" "Carpenter," I said. "I build stuff." We clicked. Easy, no pressure. Emily was a graphic designer, freelancing for ad agencies. Over coffee, then dinners, I opened up about Lisa. Not the gory details, just the gist. She listened, no pity, just understanding. "Sounds like you dodged a bullet," she said one night, sipping wine on my couch. "More like a cannonball." I laughed. She didn't push, didn't judge, and that's what got me. We weren't rushing, dates, hikes, late-night talks, but it felt real. For the first time in months, I wasn't looking over my shoulder. One sunny afternoon, I finished a cedar rocking chair, smooth curves, sturdy as hell. I stepped back, hands on hips, and felt it, pride. Not just in the wood, but in me. I'd lost a marriage, a home, a chunk of trust, but I'd built something better. My apartment was full now. Furniture I'd made, sketches Emily left behind, a life I'd carved out. Lisa and Eric? They'd gambled and crashed. She was back with her parents, I heard, scraping by. Eric was selling cars somewhere, big fall from the corner office. Their consequences weren't my doing, they'd rolled the dice themselves. Looking back, I don't hate Lisa. She chose excitement over loyalty, and it cost her everything. Job, friends, stability. I chose to walk away, not to wallow, and it saved me. Sarah called once, months later. "You good?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. "You?" "Better than ever," she laughed. Eric's still whining, too bad. We'd both come out stronger, proving their betrayal didn't define us. Emily's laugh echoed from the kitchen that night, and I smiled. This was my life now, solemn, mine, and good. That's the end, folks. From a shattered marriage to a fresh start. I took the hit and turned it around. Lisa and Eric paid the price. Not with violence, but with the truth. If you love this journey, smash that like button. It means the world. Subscribe so you don't miss my next story, and hit the bell. There's more to come. Tell me, what's your takeaway? Would you forgive, fight, or just move on? Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.